In this lesson, we will connect the stretchy systems to our primary legs. Now the great part is we've done something like this already when we set up the stretchy behavior for our FK controls. We need to tie the position of each leg to either follow IK or FK. Let's get started by doing a little bit of cleanup work. We'll need to freeze transforms on our ankle nubs. Let's make sure we're selecting the main nubs, not IK or FK, and we'll go ahead and freeze those down. Now we need to unlock the length of our thighs and shins. We'll grab our bone tools. Let's go ahead and scroll down. And now we'll go in and select the left thigh. So once we have that selected, we can now go ahead and unfreeze its length and do the same thing for the shin. Let's take care of the right side. So there's thigh main. And go ahead and take care of the shin next. And now we're ready to set up our expressions. We'll start on the left side. Let's go ahead and grab the left shin. And we'll move over to our motion panel. From there, let's go ahead and find the 0 position X. Now we're going to tie down X, Y, and Z simply because when we're in FK mode, we can stretch the leg however we'd like in any direction. So it's just going to be safer for us to lock down all three controllers. So starting with the X, let's go ahead and assign a float expression. Alright, now it's time to create a few variables. The first will be IKFK, and of course we'll tie our IKFK button to this. Now the next, we'll name that IK underscore X, and that will look at the IK shin's X-axis. So of course we need one for the FK shin. So instead of IK, we'll name that FK and choose create. So now we have three variables to work with, and now it's time to assign them. Let's go ahead and choose assign to controller. We're working on FK, so we need to go ahead and expand the global node, our center of gravity. Here's the pelvis control. Let's expand that. There's the pelvis bone. Here are the helpers that we have used to zero out the local rotation of our leg chains. So here's the left helper. Let's go ahead and expand that. And we'll be able to find our FK chain that way. Here it is. L thigh FK. So we'll expand that to reveal the shin. And now we'll expand the inside of this bone so we can get to transform, position, 0 position, and here's the X-axis. We know for certain that this is the axis we need because remember we wired parameters to it. We can take a look at the icon tied to that controller to know for sure. So now we can go ahead and choose OK and do the same thing for IK. With that selected, we'll choose assign to controller, and now let's go ahead and find the IK chain. So here is the thigh. We'll expand that. Here's the shin. So we'll expand the inside, and that's going to be FK sub-control, position, 0 position, and here's the X-axis. That's tied down by an expression. Let's choose OK. So now we need to assign IKFK, and we know that's tied to our center of gravity. So expand the inside of that to get to modified object, extra controls, and here it is. The IKFK switch for the left leg. Let's go ahead and choose OK. And now we're ready to create the expression. This is a very simple expression. Again, we're using a conditional statement. So that's going to be if, we'll go ahead and put parentheses. And within the parentheses, that's going to be IKFK. So if this is equal to 1, let's put our comma and then a space. And then following that, we'll put IK underscore X. So once we're in IK mode, this controller will look at the IK X-axis of the shin. All right, let's go ahead and take care of the false part of the statement. That's going to be FK underscore X. All right, we're good to go. We can now go ahead and evaluate our expression. It would be a great idea to go ahead and copy this. It'll make it much easier for us to create the other expressions, and they'll be done the same way. So if we were to take care of the y-axis, it'll be as follows. Again, we go in and we create our float expression. From there, we can go ahead and paste in the expression. we'll change X to Y, since we're, of course, working on the Y-axis now. Let's go ahead and create our variables. That's going to be ikfk, choose create. Then that's going to be ik underscore y, and then fk underscore y. All right, so once all three have been created, we can now start to assign. So again, the first one that's selected is for fk, and here's the y-axis. Let's choose OK. Let's go to ik next, and there's that controller. We'll go ahead and choose OK, and I will go to ikfk and take care of that. Here's the parameter we need. All right, so everything's set up. We can now choose evaluate. So we know that the z-axis is going to be done the same way. Let's take care of that next. I'm essentially going to go ahead and just take care of the left side because the right side is going to be done the same way. So we'll go ahead and paste in our expression, and we'll go ahead and change the x to a z here. All right, so from there, we'll need to go ahead and start creating our variables. That's ikfk. And then that's going to be ik underscore z, and then fk underscore z. Great. Let's go ahead and assign them. So there's fk. Let's go to ik, take care of that. Here it is. And now we have the final variable to assign. Here it is, our left leg's ikfk button. Everything's good. We can now choose evaluate. All right, so we're ready to take care of the ankle next. It's done the same way, but I'll just go ahead and walk you through the steps so we're very clear. So we go in and grab the main nub for the ankle, and now we can move over to our position, 0 position X. Let's go ahead and assign our float expression, and we're using the same exact expression. So we'll just paste. We're not changing anything here because we're working with the x-axis. So that's going to be ikfk. Let's create that. The next will be ik underscore x, and then fkx. Let's go ahead and create that. All right, so we need to go ahead and find the ankles fkx channel. Let's go ahead and choose assign to controller. And it might be easier if we go ahead and collapse the shin, but we'll expand the outside to get to the ankle. So we'll go ahead and open that up. It's going to be transform, position, and again you can see that these channels have been wired, so we'll go ahead and tie in the x-axis here, go to the ikx and assign that. So I'll go ahead and close down the shins hierarchy. We'll go ahead and expand the outside so we can get to the ankle. It's going to be FK subcontrol, position, X. Should have the expression. Let's go ahead and choose OK. We have one more to assign, and we'll tie that to our IKFK button. Alrighty, so I'll just go ahead and evaluate that. And since everything else is pretty straightforward, I'll go ahead and leave the other two channels up to you. Remember to change the variable here to Y and Z, and then make sure to select the right channels so that when you evaluate your expression, it'll work just fine. So I'll pause the video and take care of the other two controllers. Alright, so the last expression has been created for the z-axis of the ankle. I'll go ahead and close this out, and we're ready to test this. Let's go to our center of gravity. Let's go ahead and see what mode we're in. Alright, so right now we're in IK. If we were to grab our left IK control and start to pull this around, we should notice that our main chain is following. Beautiful. Let's see what happens when we go to the pelvis control and turn off the stretchy system. Again, you'll see that our leg follows. Great. All right, let's go ahead and now take a look at the FK side. So I'll go ahead and turn off IK mode. We'll go in and grab our shin and start to pull that around. And notice again, the main chain follows. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and take a look at our ankle. We'll start to pull that around, and that follows as well. Very exciting. All right. So we can go through and test things out. We can start to rotate our thigh control. We can go in and start to kind of move around everything else just to make sure everything's working properly. We sure have been keeping this rig very clean, and all of the steps are pretty straightforward. Great. All right, well, what I'll do is go ahead and switch back to IK mode. You'll see that when we grab our animation control and start to pull, when the stretchy behavior is off, of course the ankle separates. And we don't want that to happen. It's not too big of a deal, but then again, it kind of is, because if we intend on making sure that the foot is not stretchy, well, when we skin our character, we'll notice that the ankle starts to separate. So we want to find a way to go ahead and lock that down, and we'll go ahead and work on a progress check in the next lesson to make sure that that is good to go, so that we can start to attach our flexi line. So what that means is the legs are pretty much done, and we're ready to finalize them by adding flexi systems to them. And then once we're done with that, we can then start to work on the arms. So we're making great progress. And again, once we're done setting up the right leg to make sure that this main chain is connected properly, we'll move on to the next lesson and work on making sure the ankle will stay put. And then we'll go ahead and move on to setting up flexi lines.